The incident had occurred at the very end of September. Basically, we had forgotten a jersey bag in Caronport.
We got back super late at night. We were all tired, and it was just a long weekend, having to play 3 games in one weekend, which is a lot for us. Mainly, like, one of the reasons as to why we had to do the consequence that we had to do the next day. But some of the girls, 3 of our players, went to go out that night to party, have some fun, go get some drinks. And they didn't get home until like 5 a.m. in the morning.
And at the beginning of each year, we sit down as a team without the coaches, and we decide on our expectations, our goals, and some of the rules that we have. Then with that, we decide on the consequences for those rules to be held accountable. And the consequences that we had placed was like conditioning sprints. So going into this, after forgetting the jersey bag, we knew that we were going to have to come back and we were going to have to do the sprints because that's our goals and that's what we as a team decided.
While that was happening, one of the players, unfortunately, fainted or passed out.
The coaches went to go tend to her. Us other ones, we were walking around the sideline of the gym and stuff like that. And then eventually we ended up leaving.
And while it was like scary in the moment, I trusted the coaches. I would trust them with my life. And I know that like if the situation was more serious, they would have sought the right course of action. But in that moment, they saw that she was conscious. They saw that she was going to be okay. So there was no further action needed to happen in that moment.
A few minutes, probably like 20 minutes later, like we go back into the team room. We see our former teammate. She is up and walking. And I was actually the one that had sat beside her after that happened. She came back, she sat with me on the bench. She was just like laying down, and I was asking her like if she was okay. And she was like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, like trying to give her that motivation and whatnot. And
the coaches, in my opinion, responded to the situation to the best of their abilities.
And that's why I don't really understand what is happening to Chris, because being in that situation and seeing everything happening literally 4 feet away from where she fell, it doesn't make sense to me why he would be let go over something like this.
We wouldn't have left that college that day if we knew that like somebody was going through something. Like everybody was okay. Everybody checked up on each other afterwards. We made sure that everybody was getting their waters, just felt okay emotionally, mentally. A bunch of hugs were given at the end. But yeah, like I don't feel that anybody was neglected. Nobody was running after she had collapsed or anything like that. But yeah, I feel that the situation has just been taken out of context a ton and just really blown out of proportion. We know that coming into this program, things are going to be intense. I knew that from my first practice right away, or from my first recruitment practice, that things were going to be intense. It was going to be the next step up, but that's what you should expect out of a college level, right? And especially one as successful as this one.
When we first heard that our coach was getting suspended, we were very much kept in the dark and left like on our own to kind of sort out this situation by ourselves. And none of us, obviously, being in a situation like this ever before, we didn't really know what to do. We didn't have any guidance, and we just all kind of felt lost. Like I personally felt very lost, didn't know what to do. Didn't know why this was happening or why it escalated so much, because my voice wasn't heard in the matter, nor was like any of my teammates. So we were all very confused at why this was happening. Then a week later, we found out that, or we were told that he had been fired. And I feel like all of the same emotions that I had when he was suspended came back, but in a greater amount, because it was a more like set in stone statement. He wasn't going to come back. Everything that I and the others had worked for the past 3 years was gone just like that.
To an extent, some of us knew that there was an investigation going on, but for the most part, none of us did. So when we were told that we were supposed to go away for the weekend to Medicine Hat and Briarcrest without a coach, And we weren't even supposed to know. Like, we were told this. We weren't supposed to be informed of that information, basically. And so, that just raises some concerns about the decisions that were made. And then afterwards, it was just, we couldn't talk to Chris. We didn't know where we were. We were lost. We had to figure out practice plans of our own. We were stressed out about finals. We were fearing what could happen. We didn't know what was going to happen.
In the span of when it happened and from when he got suspended, like nothing was communicated to us. And obviously confidential and whatnot, but it's within our team and we never got communicated to. So we were very clueless.
I felt extremely disrespected, the fact that they didn't even take the time to ask any of us about how this was affecting us, what we saw in that incident, and to basically get the facts, because there was 14 players present at that time, and to not take the time to interview or ask any questions to the rest of the team was very frustrating.
What's hurting me, obviously, is Chris not being here and our coaches not being here and not being allowed to be with us. It hurts to see a person get punished for something that we know he didn't do, that we know was wrong. Like, it hurts me to see a person who had built his family into this program, into this city. He's built his family here, and it hurts to see that it just gets stripped away just like that.
And just like hearing it from other people, how much they've been affected. Like, it was so hard not being able to talk to him or see him or anything, when, you definitely take it for granted every single day how important this whole program is to you until you're stripped away.
And having all of that leave in a blink of an eye, it was really scary. And I also my heart went out to people in the community, all the kids that were affected by this too, and also his family. And again, not really having any information, that was very hard.
Just seeing how much this is impacting not only Chris, but also his family. As much as it impacts us as a team as well, it's hard to see somebody who's put so much into the program and into us as players go through something like this, that has dedicated majority of his life to this program, to the community, to his players, and for that to all be disrespected and taken away from him on some false accusations is really heartbreaking and completely undeserved.